You can't take the old you into the new life. That version of you, the one built on excuses, short bursts of effort, missed mornings, and broken promises, doesn't get to cross the line. It doesn't get to stand in the winner's circle. It doesn't get to meet the future you've imagined. See, success doesn't just ask for change. It demands rebirth. The path doesn't say, try your best. It says, transform. Because what you want, who you want to become, is incompatible with who you've been. That old you has habits stitched into their bones. Habits of comfort. Habits of delay. Habits of wishing things would be different instead of becoming different. And here's the truth, nothing changes until you do. You can chase new goals with old habits. You can decorate your vision board. You can buy the planner, highlight the quotes, listen to the podcasts, but if you don't burn the old script, you'll be acting out the same story in different costumes. Growth isn't cosmetic. It's internal surgery. You've got to let go of the identity that's been clinging to safety. You've got to bury the version of yourself that was okay with just getting by. You've got to mourn the part of you that was always waiting for the right time, the perfect moment, someone to finally believe in you. Because here's the secret nobody tells you, success isn't something you chase. It's something you outgrow into. You don't get rich by chasing money. You get rich by becoming someone who's valuable. You don't get disciplined by forcing willpower. You get disciplined by aligning your daily actions with who you believe you are. And if that belief is still tied to the old self, the self who starts but doesn't finish, who dreams big but sleeps in, then no system, no schedule, no how to book will save you. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize the problem isn't the world. It's not the market. It's not the opportunities. It's me. My mindset. My philosophy. My relationship with pain, time, responsibility, and truth. Jim Rohn once said, if you will change, everything will change for you. Not if your boss changes. Not if the economy improves. Not if people finally recognize your worth. No. If you will change. Because life responds not to wishes, but to standards. And your standard is showing. In your habits. In your discipline. In how you speak to yourself when no one's listening. You think you're hiding it. But the results don't lie. If the results aren't there, the identity hasn't changed. You've got to become someone who expects more from yourself. Not out of shame, but out of reverence. Out of the realization that your time on this earth is finite, and every moment you live as a watered-down version of yourself is a moment stolen from your future. The old you survived. But the new you was made to lead. When you truly decide to rise, to stop negotiating with weakness, to stop making room for laziness, you will lose people. You will shed relationships, routines, and reasons. The world will tempt you to go back. To explain yourself. To play it safe. But growth is lonely. Don't be fooled. Most people never make it, not because they're not capable, but because they refuse to let go of who they were. They think success is something they'll get without loss. Without grief. Without sacrifice. But the truth is, before you build the life you want, you'll bury the life that kept you small. And it won't feel comfortable. Because the old you will fight to survive. The procrastination will whisper, just one more time. The excuses will bargain, you've had a long week. The fear will scream, what if you fail again? But that's the test. That's the moment where the old version either wins or dies. And the death of the old self? That's your liberation. You weren't born for mediocrity. No soul shows up to this earth with the dream of being average. You were born to grow. To stretch. To evolve through fire and forge new strength. But somewhere along the way, society told you to sit down. Be realistic. Don't stand out. Don't risk it. And most listened. But not you. You feel it, don't you? That quiet unrest. That pull inside your chest. You see, the person you are becoming, that version is already inside you. But it's buried. Buried beneath years of conditioning, disappointment, comparison, and compromise. You weren't born undisciplined. You learned it. You weren't born doubtful. You were taught to second-guess yourself. Somewhere along the way, you started to believe that consistency was boring and that commitment was a trap. But here's the truth: commitment is freedom. The man or woman who chooses one direction and walks it daily, they are free. Free from the chaos of indecision. Free from the weight of regret. Free from the distractions that devour the average. You know what takes people out? It's not the pain. It's not even failure. It's fragmentation. Too many directions. Too many identities. Too many versions of themselves, trying to survive in the same skin. But greatness isn't built in confusion. It's built in clarity. The day you say, "This is who I am now." No more negotiating, no more explaining, no more stepping in and out of commitment. That's the day the war inside you begins to end. And yes, you'll lose people. You'll be misunderstood. You'll be called obsessed. But let them talk. You're not building a life for applause. You're building it for purpose. You're not chasing attention. You're chasing alignment. And alignment means cutting away everything that doesn't match the future you say you want. Your environment? Audit it. Your habits? Scrutinize them. Your beliefs? Challenge every single one. Because some of the thoughts living in your mind are squatters. They don't pay rent. They don't build your future. And yet you've let them live there for years. Thoughts like, "I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. People like me don't make it." Burn them. They don't belong to you anymore. You've inherited some of those lies from broken people, scared people, people who gave up on their own potential and handed you their story. But that doesn't have to be your story. You have the power, right now, to rewrite every chapter. Not with fantasy, but with faith tied to action. Look, we all start with limitations. That's not a disadvantage. That's the beginning of every legend. The real question isn't, "Can I do it?" It's, "Can I become the kind of person who would?" That's the root of everything. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, your rituals, your routines, and most importantly, your philosophy. What do you believe about work? About time? About pressure, pain, and progress? That's where your life is coming from. Not from what you want, but from what you believe to be true. So if you want a better life, you need a better belief system. One that says, "I am responsible. I am capable. I am becoming. I am not done." Because this life is not about perfection. It's about direction. And direction is a choice. Not once a year. Not once a month. Every single day. You choose the hard road over the easy exit. You choose the early morning over the extra sleep. You choose the truth over the story. You choose the future over the comfort of the past. And with every one of those choices, you are sculpting the new you. You ever seen a blacksmith forge a blade? It starts as a lump of metal, useless. But the blacksmith doesn't look at it and say, "This isn't enough." He knows exactly what to do. Heat. Hammer. Shape. Repeat. Heat. The pressure that breaks most people. Hammer. The strikes of failure, discomfort, and resistance. Shape. The refinement of character through repetition and direction. That's what life is doing to you right now, if you'll let it. And here's what they won't tell you. You don't just burn the old version of yourself once. You burn it again. And again. And again. Because every time you grow, every time you level up, every time you rise above who you were yesterday, there's a new layer of limitation that must die. Success is not a destination. It's a continual funeral for the weaker parts of you. Every new level demands a cleaner conscience, a higher standard, a deeper discipline, a stronger sense of who you are and who you'll never be again. Because when you finally get close to your potential, you start to see all the things that were holding you back were never out there. They were in here: your mind, your habits, your beliefs, your patterns. You were never fighting the world. You were fighting your old self. The one who wanted shortcuts. The one who feared rejection. The one who mistook rest for laziness and called it self-care when it was really self-sabotage. But that self doesn't lead anymore, because the new you has taken command. And now, everything changes. Your mornings are no longer negotiable. Your time is no longer disposable. Your word is no longer optional. You show up even when you're tired. You finish even when no one claps. You grow even when it hurts. Because now, you're not trying to impress anyone. You're not here for validation. You're here for mastery. Mastery of your mind. Mastery of your habits. Mastery of your life. That's what Rohn meant when he said, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because you are the multiplier. When you change, everything you touch changes. Your family. Your business. Your health. Your legacy. So from this day forward, walk like someone reborn. No more apologies for your ambition. No more shrinking to fit into spaces too small for your calling. No more explaining why you want more. You don't need permission to transform. You don't need the world to understand you. You don't even need certainty. You need conviction. Because when you live with conviction, people will feel it before you speak it. They'll see it in your eyes. They'll hear it in your tone. They'll notice it in your posture. And more importantly, you'll feel it in your soul. That unshakable knowing. I'm not who I used to be. And I'll never go back. Because you paid the price. You walked through the fire. You buried the old self with your own hands. And in that quiet grave lies 1,000 excuses that will never breathe again. So now the world waits. Not for your potential, but for your decision. To no longer just hope for a better life, but to live like someone who's already paid for it in full. And the next time life tests you, when you're tired, misunderstood, stretched thin and ready to break, you'll remember this moment. The fire. The vow. The version of you that burned. And you'll smile because you know